I just wanted to say, check with you guys. Turf Island is putting us on the map for all of the right reasons, I think, wrong reasons for others. Can I just check where you're from? Here's the song. Anything in there, I've been advised. But I will say this, that I think we all know somebody who's reported an actual crime to the police, whether it's a woman that's being stalked by an ex, or whether it's somebody that's just generally being harassed. And I think we all know how quickly the police come. I don't know if you've had anything stolen in the last 5 years, but they don't come. I know somebody, in fact, it's somebody who either comments or phoned into Tough Talk Tuesday, and oh no, it's someone I know very well. She had men in her house being burgled, broken in, and the police didn't come out. And then I've just sat in there, I don't know what the time is, say it's an hour, answering questions, none of which I think I'm allowed to discuss. But let's just say hypothetically that you might be in a police interview where they discuss pronouns. I cannot say that that's happened today. I can definitely say in the last 5 years. So 5 years ago, yesterday, I attended my first interview here, and that today was my third interview in the last 5 years, and I've also had one arrest and then some police at my door because I was untoward about paedophiles. But I just think that without the culture of misogyny, which we know, which gets really serious in the police force, laughing at female victims, dead women, laughing at female victims of crime. I actually had a police officer, a Trowbridge-based police officer, who came to my house because somebody had put pictures of my kids online, and it took me about 5 to 10 minutes to get him to leave after he'd said he wouldn't help me. And when I came and complained about him in that police station just there, he was one of many officers that was being inappropriate with female victims of crime. So even in this leafy metropolis where I live, there may be a room somewhere to hold us all, I have no idea. But even in this leafy metropolis, there are just ripples of misogyny. I reported a nearby brothel in which I thought women were being trafficked, and I was told, well, if one of the men that has been there to use the service complaint, like talks about it, goes in there and talks about it, they'll investigate, but otherwise, what could they do? So we are just in, this is just absolutely indicative, I think today, the time I've wasted today, is indicative of a police force that has lost sight, if it ever had sight, of women and what we face just walking about this world. The person, people, women, group, whoever it is that reported me, imagine if that was just a group of schoolgirls who were a little bit worried about boys that were sexually assaulting them in their school. Imagine if they talked about that, we might accuse them of being far right. We might not actually listen to them at all. We might listen to the girls up and down the country for the last 10, 20, 30, 40 years that have talked to the police about being systematically raped and passed around by men in this country. Yeah. And they got totally ignored. In fact, They deserved it. They probably wanted it. I personally, this is absolutely true, in 1993, maybe 92, I was training to be a teacher. I never taught, don't worry, your kids are safe. I never taught, but I went to this, I was doing a teacher training in Leeds in an area called Eccles Hill, which is a really poor, at that time it was a really poor area, and my whole family lived in council houses, but they had neat gardens and tidy cars and shiny cars, right, and pansies and snapdragons and well-kept houses. And I went to a council estate that I'd never seen anything like it in my life, and every third house was boarded up, and there was dog poo everywhere, and there was like all the stereotypes of that sort of place, men in nice Mercedes and BMWs waiting to deal drugs. And we went into this house, and this girl was, I think she was 13, but she looked about 9 because she was malnourished. And when we left that, she hadn't been to school for 11 weeks. And when we left that house, the EWO, which is an educational welfare officer, truancy officer, said to me, well, she's on game, isn't she? And I was like, what? She's on game, her sister's on game, mother's on, and I didn't even know what on game, on the game, in Southern speak. I didn't even know what on game meant. But there was a shrug of his shoulders that was like, she's chosen to be a prostitute. Oh. So what are we going to do? We're not going to step in. What a poor excuse of a human being this young woman is. At 13 years old, and I think she actually might have been 11 or 12, but 13 at the absolute top, that she was just shrugged off. And that's what happens time and time and time again, except if you are a woman, and then the attention is very much focused on you. Did you say mean words? Did you try to offend? I've just been in a police interview, and my solicitor, who's been doing his work for about 20 years, has never been in an interview room for a Section 5 public order offence. Literally, that's normally a drinking on the street where you're not supposed to drink, have a parking ticket for your own body. So anyway, that's where we are, but I want to say to all of you, thank you so much. It's so lovely to see each and every one of you. It feels very nice and ridiculous all at the same time that anyone had to spend any money on travelling to this beautiful place in order to support me, because I said some mean words and somebody who was very special decided to complain about it. Or a group of very special people, or a whole city of very special people who have the balls of the police up the skirt, the balls up the skirt of the police, which is literally what's happened to me today. So thank you very much, and yay! Okay, so next we just have to wait. They take it to the CPS, and then the CPS decide whether or not there is a case. Seriously, there is a case to answer. But I've got my eye on another suit for the court. I quite like these sartorial necessities. So anyway, yeah, but I don't think the people complaining or the police have heard this last little bit in which going to court will be fine. I will misgender the arse out of anyone. I absolutely hate it. Even if I don't have to, I will get it in every arse. Because we've got to break this. We've got to break it. It can't. It just cannot continue. We've just got to break this wide open. Okay, if you can gather in this beautiful town on this beautiful day with your beautiful flags, and you can stand beside people knowing that you are right, then I promise we will win. If you can find a local Wetherspoons that will house us all, and your shoes will not stick too hard to the carpet, then I promise we will win. And to Wiltshire, Sussex Police, to the CPS, the courts, and my complainants, Do you know why else we're going to win?